What's up? This is the Game Forum's Extended Forum, episode 31. I'm Zach,
And I'm Lindsay.
and today we're going to be talking about Borderlands 3, Black Ops Cold War, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Prince of Persia, and a special showcase by Sony. But first, what have you been playing?
So, I've been continuing to play some Fall Guys. I should have a review out for that by the time this comes out. I've been having a lot of fun with that. I actually had a ton of fun the other day. I had 4 friends hop on with me, and oh god, it was so fun. There was actually one round where we all made it to the finals, and then it was like trying to
Ooh.
murder each other for the crown. So that was a blast.
Did one of you, like one of the four, win the crown?
Yes, yes. My
Oh,
wife
cool.
actually beat us.
Oh, wow.
So it was her first win, so it was really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. What mode was
Been
it?
playing a little bit more Ghost of Tsushima. Almost beat it now, into the last bits of Chapter 3. I did hop on Crossout for a little bit just to see if they've done any updates. No new updates. They did add in a new vehicle. It's more of like a racing style vehicle. So I just
Yeah.
played a little bit of that while I was on. And nothing else really comes to mind I've played lately.
Oh, okay. Well, cool.
How about you, Zach?
Uh, so I finished Trials of Mana as like the main story. There's an epilogue that they added that I'm gonna finish. It's a lot harder. It's so there's these classes. There's class 1, 2, and 3. You kind of upgrade as you play the story, and then you beat the game. Credits roll, and then it shows like a teaser of like a bookshelf in a library starting to shake, and there's like some wizard trapped in a book. So you go, you grab the book, and it's just so like out of meta for the game to be like, oh, you need to go to class 4 now, and I'm like, okay, that they never mention classes in the game. That's just a form of you to upgrade. But the wizard, it's like the people that designed this new epilogue, like, how do we tell the player about this? And I was like, oh, just have the character in game talk about they have to level up to class 4, and you have to go grab all these class items. I'm like, the thing that I've been doing for 20 hours, yeah, okay. So that was a little odd. So I'm in the middle of doing that. There apparently the boss battle is really really difficult, so I'm trying to like make sure I'm over leveled for that because I don't want to get stuck. I had the
Yeah.
same thing happen with the first Kingdom Hearts. I got to like the last boss sections, and I'm not. Well, I mean, I'm leveled enough to get through it, but it's a lot more. It's difficult for me. So I was like, I gotta grind. I don't really want to, so I'm trying to do that beforehand. Um, so I'm playing that, and then I finished Destroy All Humans, the remake, and I'm close to platinuming it. I have 2 trophies left, but one of them I'm gonna get. It's for getting all the optional objectives in every mission. Only have 2 more missions with one optional objective each that I have to get. The other is there's these challenges. There's 4 challenges per location, and there's 4 or 5, actually no, 5 or 6 locations, and you have to ace them, which means you get 3 stars, and it is insanely difficult. But it's gonna really annoy me if I only have 1 trophy left until I get the platinum.
Oh
But it is
no.
like it is so difficult, and I mean like I tried my hardest to get 3 stars in like the third area, and they get progressively harder the more further you get into the game. So the third out of 5 locations, I did one of the easiest challenges of the 4, and I was only able to get 1 star out of 3. And I'm like, what the hell? This is not. So I don't think I'm actually gonna go for it. I will. Honestly, I'm probably just gonna like, okay, I'm done. I'm not gonna spend any more time on it. And then I started Borderlands 3, which I started the first DLC. I'm enjoying it a lot. Actually, like kind of like, man, I really did miss this game. And we'll talk about it a little later. But like Borderlands 3 is coming to next gen, so now I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna finish up this expansion and then stop because it will have cross save. At least that's what they've said. So I was like, oh, I'll just finish up what I'm playing now, and then I'm gonna stop. I'll wait for next gen because there's some cool perks that it's gonna have that'll be a little more interesting than what I'm playing right now. I think other than that, I played a little bit of Fall Guys. I've been playing a few games on my Switch. Oh no, I'm sorry, not the Switch, the PlayStation Vita. Just kind of like smaller indie RPGs. Nothing really of note. Nothing to brag about. But other than that, I mean, that's realistically that's all I've really been playing.
I gotcha. All
All right,
right.
so move.
I guess if you
Yeah,
want to get us into the news,
yeah. So speaking of Borderlands, Borderlands 3 is coming to next gen systems, and it's coming for free. It'll run at 4K at 60 frames per second. They've also confirmed that more DLC is coming later this year, but it won't be the big story expansions like we've already got. It'll be some smaller stuff, which I mean, either way, it's that's cool. More content. I believe, they said crossplay and cross save is coming for the next gen jump. So whatever save you have of Borderlands 3 on the Xbox One, PS4 now, it will transfer over, no issue. That's super exciting. You know, I find it ironic that I just started back at Borderlands 3 playing the DLC, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh hey, it's coming to next gen. But I don't think they gave a release date for it, which I don't. I'm assuming it's later this year because they're just kind of like porting it over. But I don't know. What do you think about that? Are you going to hop back into Borderlands 3 for next gen?
I don't know if I'll get it on for next gen. Borderlands 3's typically one I play with my wife,
Yeah.
and we have a PlayStation 4 in the living room and a PlayStation 4 in the bedroom, and we're probably only going to get one PlayStation 5 at least for starting until
Yeah.
there's something else we want to play exclusively for PlayStation 5 together.
Yeah.
So this will probably be one I continue to play on PlayStation 4.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean that's also fair. You know, Borderlands 3 is still playable on the PS4, so it's not a big issue.
Continuing on, Black Ops Cold War had their multiplayer reveal the other day.
Yeah.
I gotta say, as far as multiplayer goes, this one really struck a chord with me compared to some of the other previous Call of Duties. I really like the objective based game modes.
Yeah.
I really got into World War II's war mode, where there's like a push and pull of objectives to try and complete. And I kind of missed that in the last couple of games. That was probably one of my favorite modes in recent history. Um, and it looks like they're doing something very similar to this because they outlined essentially large, like objective based gameplay for each map. Like, especially one I thought was really cool is the map with the ships and stuff. They're saying that like it's essentially going to be a fight to claim a submarine. And I'm like, okay, that sounds really cool, and that's a really
Yeah.
cool, interesting map that's very different from most Call of Duties before. Because you're going to have essentially people on boats and jet skis running around on the water. There will be openings in the side of ships where people can go into the ships and go through and go up to the top of the decks. It looks like there's going to be scaffolding and railings to go across the ships. So there's going to be a lot of dense gameplay with a lot of different elements people can use. And also looks like they're going to be taking a play from the book of Battlefield by implementing a lot more vehicles than Call of Duty is normally known for.
Yeah. The trailer definitely grabbed me in a way that I'm already kind of down on Call of Duty just because it's like I might want to take a break. But I mean, it looks good. The single player is what's really got my attention, but the multiplayer looked different enough, and the things that they were saying about the weapon customization and the loadout stuff it, I mean, thankfully there's an open beta coming out in what early October, so that's good. That'll definitely help, seal the deal or not.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see that the gunsmith is coming back. I don't see how Call of Duty could take that away after putting that in Modern Warfare because I love being able to customize my weapons. I know a lot of people don't, but I mean so many people, especially pro players, want that every little slight advantage and it gives you so much more stuff to work for and gives you a good reason to use the weapons and level them up beyond just now I can have this camo, now I can have that camo.
Yeah.
It's like if you actually use the gun, you can unlock things to where it's like, okay, now I don't have to have a stock on it. It makes me run 10% faster. or maybe I can get this night vision scope and do better in dark environments or whatever. I mean, it adds so many more layers to the game. I think is really necessary, and I really hope to see this going forward, like continue to stay in the game. One more
Yeah,
bit about Black Ops I think was interesting too, is it looks like they're making a clear separation between the main franchise Call of Duty games and Warzone. We know they spun Warzone off of Modern Warfare as a free-to-play standalone element, similar to what they did with Blackout, but it looks like going forward we'll start getting like a new Call of Duty every year, but it looks like Warzone might be sticking around between these Call of Duties because they're
yeah,
saying that they're going to start adding in elements of Cold War into Warzone. So that means Warzone will essentially have crossed from Modern Warfare into Cold War. So it looks like this will start continuing on throughout all the Call of Duties, or at least a couple of them. So I think that's a very interesting way to take it. I'm also curious to see, are they going to be adding in just weapons? Are they going to be changing some of the mechanics of Warzone? How are they going to entirely implement this?
yeah. I would imagine like some weapons, maybe vehicles, characters, uh, maybe modes, kind of like tied in. Maybe they'll do something like Fortnite and they'll change the map. Like a bunker will open up and then you go in it, and then all of a sudden it is like a Cold War setting type of nuclear area that they could do a little bit of tie-in stuff. I mean, they could. The sky's the limit really when it comes to stuff like this. Now, one thing that I thought I read, I don't know if you've looked into this more or something you come across, but did I hear that the weapons are going to be having stats this time? Like you can act like it's going to have each weapon is going to have stats that you can change based off the attachments. And I know Modern Warfare kind of had something like that, but it seemed like they were going to be focusing on it more like I don't know how to explain it. It just seemed like
Well,
they're focusing on like an RPG style stuff online.
the video I watched talking about it, um, in the Modern Warfare gunsmith, you had pretty much bars like sliders and stuff
Yeah,
that didn't really give you like a hard number. And a lot of people kind of complained because it's like it says this should make the gun 10% more accurate, but it feels more like 2%.
yeah,
Or this says it could do that, but it actually feels a little more or a little less. It's kind of not quite as tangible.
yeah.
It doesn't make as big a differences. And for this one, they're changing out the slider for actual numbers and stats, and they're
Okay.
saying that the gunsmith will start making bigger differences on weapons. So instead of just purely changing it cosmetically, they're kind of doubling down on completely changing the function of a weapon. So if you take a full length M16, take the stock off, that might make you run faster. You put a forward grip on it, that'll definitely give you a noticeable boost in accuracy. If you put a certain type of flash suppressor or something else on it, that might give you like a noticeable difference in recoil. So essentially, the more you use the weapon, the more you can customize it for your specific play style, and they're kind of like doubling down on making it feel like essentially a completely different gun by the time you get it customized.
Okay. Hopefully, I mean, I'm assuming they're gonna have some sort of shooting range, so that way you can test your weapons to have a good loadout. And if they had a system to where there was like the damage output when you're shooting the enemy, so you can see what the numbers that you're actually doing, that would be kind of cool. I don't know if Modern Warfare did that, but kind of like what Borderlands does. You know, how, like when you shoot an enemy, the damage kind of
Mm-hmm.
pops out. Like that would be kind of cool with the Call of Duty, so you can like really perfect your loadout. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of Call of Duty purists would be like, they just eat me alive for that.
Well, I don't necessarily think it should have numbers pop out like in the middle of multiplayer, But
Yeah.
I definitely like the idea of having like a practice range where you can shoot targets. Also, very similar to World War II. You know, they had the thing where
Yeah.
even when you're in a multiplayer lobby, you can click a button and you're instantly in a shooting range testing your loadout. And maybe the target has those little numbers that pop out so you can see, oh, now it went from 20 damage to 25 damage. That's not quite enough. I think it hurts the recoil too much. Or, oh, that went from 20 damage to 40 damage. I'll definitely do that. But then when you actually get into a multiplayer match, those numbers don't pop out. It's only in the testing range. I think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, hopefully they look into that, or maybe that's just not even a bother. Like, they don't want to get into the granular details and all of the balancing that they would have to do. It's much easier to just slap a number on the loadout screen showing like, oh yeah, it's gonna do this much damage. But I don't know how much of a chore that would be. But I mean, beta's coming out, early October. It's open. Hopefully, I mean, whether or not the game's good, like people are gonna buy it. I don't. I'm interested, but I just feel like there's so much coming out this year and so much that we don't know yet that Black Ops is kind of like it's gonna sit on the back burner because it's such a time consuming game and it's kind of just a repeat, realistically.
Yeah.
Especially when you got games like you know Cyberpunk coming out that are gonna be these huge like never done before games. Even though I guess Skyrim was the last like big push like this, but I mean even still like that comparing yourself to Skyrim isn't a small feat in itself. All right, so moving to the next story, Assassin's Creed Valhalla in a first. I don't think this has ever happened before, but it's moving up. It got undelayed. I don't think that's a word, but it's going from November 17th to the 10th. That's to kind of go hand in hand with the launch of the new Xbox, which we'll have a video up. Uh, Before this, we should have a video focusing on all the information that came out over the weekend with Microsoft. Uh, this is cool. On the When they announced this, the move, it doesn't mention anything about the PlayStation 5, obviously because we don't have a release date. But it is moving up for the PlayStation 4. So if you're not sure about getting a PS5, but you want to play Assassin's Creed, you can actually get it a week earlier, which is cool. One thing that is really I don't I don't understand because Ubisoft is really good with the whole like if you buy what is it Immortals, Phoenix Rising, Far Cry, the Watch Dogs, if you buy it on PS4, you get it for free on next gen.
Yeah.
But if you buy Assassin's Creed, you don't get it for free on PS5. But
Really? I
if you,
didn't know that there was an
yeah,
exception.
the only exception to that is if you have the physical disc of Assassin's Creed on the PS4, you can put it in the physical disc tray of the PS5, and that will work. But if you get a PS4 digital, it will not work digitally on the PS5. But if you buy it on the PS5, you will get it for free on the PS4. It is completely backwards, and I don't know why it's like that. Which kind of helped me cancel my pre-order of the collector's edition because I want to get the digital PS5, and if I get the physical disc of the PS4, then I can't play I would have to buy it anyways. So why not just cancel the pre-order, get it for PS5 digital, and not worry about playing it on the PS4? But that is very odd. I'm assuming it's because they know that Assassin's Creed is going to sell consoles, honestly, because it's such a big game.
Yeah.
And the further it's separated from Cyberpunk, the better it's going to do. Even if it's only a 9-day difference.
Yeah, I definitely think like a little bit of separation will give them some breathing room.
Yeah,
But at the same time, they're definitely different styles of game. I mean, you got one that's like an ancient Viking game, and another one that's like a futuristic sci-fi game.
yeah,
So hopefully, Cyberpunk won't eat into Assassin's Creed so much. Um, but I definitely think Assassin's Creed's got some ground to make up after Ghost of Tsushima, though.
yeah. It's going to be. fun to see. I mean, honestly, for me, like I've told you before, Ghost of Tsushima was like a fine steak. Assassin's Creed is just Taco Bell. Like
Yeah.
it's just junk food. Like it can be mediocre, and I will still put 120 hours into it. It's just like that's my like perfect type of game. It's the perfect setting, the cool little features they're adding here and there. So it even if it's like yeah, it's not really doing much with the open world. It's like you know what, I don't care.
All right. We got some more news from Ubisoft. So instead of a new Sam Fisher game, they're going back and remaking Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. How do you feel about that, Zach?
uh, I mean, when the rumors were coming out, I was like, oh, okay. I mean, that's cool. I liked the Prince of Persia trilogy, so it's fine that they're doing that. Hopefully, that means they're going to do the others. Until I saw it, did you watch the trailer?
Yeah, it wasn't as much of a remake as I thought it was going to be. It still looked pretty
It
unpolished,
looks
especially in the
bad.
I don't know, just the character models and the textures were not what I was expecting out of a big title remake from um, Ubisoft.
Yeah, this it looks pretty bad, and the fact that it comes out in January either means it's definitely getting delayed, or they just don't care, and they're just trying to make good with the fans, shut them up. Hopefully, like, look, stop asking about a Splinter Cell. Also, Beyond Good and Evil 2 is just not coming out because like Michelle Ancel, the creative director of Beyond Good and Evil 2, also has another game called Wild with his own studio that he announced in 2014 that has yet to come out. It's still in development apparently, but it has not come out yet. And now he's taken on Beyond Good and Evil 2, which they said two things about it, and we have not heard anything in like 2.5 years. So I think they're like, look, we need to really make people happy because they're going to be really upset when they realize we're not making a Splinter Cell game and we're not making Beyond Good and Evil 2 anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it was what a lot of people were kind of hoping for was just something with Sam Fisher, and well, he's in was it
The
Rainbow
Elite,
Six Siege now, but
yeah, and that mobile game, the Elite Squad or whatever.
yeah, that doesn't
So,
count.
yeah, well, to Ubisoft, I think it does, and that's a whole nother. We don't have that, in the list, but that Elite Squad controversy. Have you been following that at all?
I have not. I've heard about it, but I don't know the details.
So when they released the trailer, it's a mobile MOBA game using like characters from Ubisoft games, it's a cool idea. But when the trailer came out for it, there was like a cinematic story trailer. The bad guys in the game are using the Black Lives Matter like symbolism, like the fist. So they're taking the Black Lives Matter group and basically turning them into a terrorist group in this video game. And so people are like, "Whoa, what are you doing? Like, okay, you're definitely being political. You're definitely making a statement." So they were like, "Oh, okay, we're so sorry. We'll pull it. That wasn't our intention." Which are like, oh, "Okay, you knew exactly what you were doing, but whatever." And
Well,
then it turned.
okay, that fist has actually been symbols from not just previous factions in video games, because didn't the what was it, one of the evil factions in the old Red Alert games use that symbol too?
It was the fist, but this was like the straight up like the same like copy paste fist that's been used, with what's going on right now. So a lot of people were just like, "Hey, look, this is bad timing." And then they were. I guess it's not so much that they were using the fist; it's that they were like villainizing. Like that fist is tied to bad guys in this game.
Yeah.
But then, so when that came out, then they found out that Yves Guillemot, the CEO of Ubisoft, his son is the one that's actually like in charge of that game, and he has no game experience whatsoever. So it's total nepotism.
Oh
But to be
boy.
fair, that company is privately traded. They're privately owned. They can do whatever the hell they want. It's the Guillemot family own like 35% of that company, and so they frankly they can do what they want. It's their company, and so it's just a whole big mess.
Okay, I didn't know about all the details in that.
And then, did you watch the apology video from Yuzgumo?
No.
So, with the first Ubisoft Forward, they didn't throw up a video in the front of it, acknowledging and apologizing with all the allegations that Ubisoft has been getting with all the the sexist comments or the racist comments. Like they just had a lot of really bad stuff going on, and they didn't acknowledge it. And so a lot of people are like, "What the hell? You're hiding, you're sweeping stuff under the rug. This isn't cool." So they were like, "We promise we're going to acknowledge it in the next forward." Well, come last week, 2 hours before that forward went live, Yves Gilmour posted a video on Twitter of him like formally acknowledging what's going on, the changes they're making, apologizing, like a pretty sincere video. But they didn't throw it in front of the actual live stream, and they said like, "Oh well, timing constraint, we weren't able to do that." I was like, "You weren't able to put a 4-minute video in front of a video that you're already working like." Like okay, and then they were like, "Well, we're gonna put the video in the front when it goes to the VOD on YouTube and 4K and all that stuff." They still haven't done that yet. The video that's on YouTube is just the live stream. They haven't made it look pretty with that video in front at all. So it's a total like marketing move of, well, like I gotta say, 95% of gamers are probably completely unaware of what's going on at Ubisoft. If they were to put that apology video in front of that Ubisoft Forward, then all of a sudden everyone is aware that, oh wait, there's a lot of stuff going on at Ubisoft. We should probably look into this. So he was like, no, we're going to separate it. We're going to put it only on Twitter. That's a very small audience. It's only going to go to the game journalists. That's the people that are going to worry about. We can handle them because we can
Yeah.
blacklist them if we want to. If they start talking crap, we can cut them off. No big deal. But the millions of people that are going to be, eyes on with all their games, we don't want to, muddy up the message with them. We want them to be excited about their video games. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on with Ubisoft.
I know, that's pretty interesting. I didn't know all the exact details. I'd heard a little bit, but I do think their campaign of trying to skirt around and not let people know about everything is probably working pretty well for them, apparently.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. If that's something that you weren't really like 100% aware of, then think of the people that like don't really look into YouTube videos on video games. They're just like, oh man, Ubisoft, yeah, new games, cool. And then it's like, yo, this is pretty bad. But I mean, then again, they're a business. They gotta sell money. They have investors. So we'll just have to wait and see. But moving on to our next and last story, we have Sony has finally, at least said something about the PlayStation 5. So September 16th at 4 p.m. Eastern, because that's the only time zone that matters to us. They're going to show a 40-minute showcase. Nothing's been confirmed what's in it other than they're going to be doing updates on what they've announced and also some more reveals, which is obviously, yeah, okay, you're obviously 40 minutes. That's pretty lengthy. I'm assuming we're getting price, release date, and pre-order date, new game reveals, launch lineup, maybe a couple of games coming out December to March if they have anything lined up. I don't know. I'm actually really excited about this, but I'm also nervous because it's like, ooh, if those pre-orders go live, it's just gonna be a madhouse.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's not going to be enough uh, PlayStations to go around for for essentially the demand that they're going to have. They're actually saying that this is going to be the biggest number of pre orders that they've had available at the launch of any console, of around 5 to 6 million. But I also think that, especially with as many people who are into gaming now compared to how many people used to be into gaming, I think it's probably not going to be enough still.
Yeah, I'm expecting, like I've told you, I think the pre-orders for the select people through email will go live Wednesday after the showcase, public on Friday just to get it out before the Xbox, and then I mean, it's yeah. There's going to be a limited supply. I'm assuming that there's going to be a staggered release, maybe North America mid-November, maybe the 13th, maybe the 17th, maybe even the 20th, and then all of the regions will be like the first week of December. So that way they can kind of like we're going to focus on November for North America, get that settled before Black Friday, the biggest holiday, which I don't even know is Black Friday canceled. Is that
I have a feeling it's going to strongly move to more online sales than in-store sales, but
yeah.
considering how much money is involved, I definitely don't think it's going to be canceled.
Yeah, if they don't cancel Black Friday but cancel Halloween, I'm going to be upset. But that's a whole other podcast. But what it's going to be interesting. I'm assuming they're going to do a staggered release just to make because it's like they can't control everything right now with everything that's going on with shipment delays. Like they have to hit North America no matter what. In which unfortunately that's just how it is. But they have to definitely go for North America at least prior to Black Friday.
Yeah. All right, I think that's all we got for this week.
Yep.
Tell us what you guys have been up to in the comments down below. And until next time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.